Hi, this is Bob Cargill. It's Saturday, April 28, 2012, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sudbury Social Tweetup that Phil Hollis and I co-host on the last Thursday of the month from 6 to 8 p.m. at Bistro 20 in Sudbury, Massachusetts. To register to attend, just go to sudburysocial.eventbrite.com. As always, the April Sudbury Social Tweetup, just a couple days ago, Thursday evening, was a fun, informative get-together. We talked, we laughed, and we all went home knowing so much more about Pinterest. And that was thanks to my co-host, Phil Hollis, who gave an excellent presentation on this phenomenally popular image sharing site. In addition to Phil's presentation, another highlight of the evening for me was having the opportunity to sit down and ask three of those in attendance on camera a few questions about social media. Those folks were Jill Baker, Rob Mossy, and Ann Weisskopf. And here's what they had to say. This is Bob Cargill. I'm sitting down with Jill Baker from Godango and Texterity. And Jill's going to start off by telling us what her Twitter handle is, a little bit of what she does at work, and what her favorite social media networks and tools are. Jill?
Okay, to start with, Texterity was recently acquired by Godango. We're a digital and mobile publishing provider, and Godango is the largest provider of content management systems for magazines. I'm the director of marketing, and my job runs the gamut from generating collateral to media buying to PR to website and social media responsibility. And for work, we tend to tweet a lot. We tweet about business and industry trends probably more than anything. We try not to self-promote too much, but we try to be thought leaders by retweeting good articles or tips or comments that endorse the value of digital and mobile publishing and cross-platform communication. Luckily, I have a great colleague who is the face of our social presence. We do have Facebook visibility. We haven't quite started a LinkedIn group. We do have a LinkedIn page, but so I'd say Twitter is our favorite tool.
How can people follow you, Jill, and also Texterity Godango?
Okay.
Godango Texterity.
Yeah, we haven't quite figured that one out because we're just beginning to integrate those companies, but for myself, it's J. Baker Marketing. And yes, I sometimes do a little self-promotion if something cool is happening at Texterity, but I also like to tweet things that fall a little more into the creative or writing realm because that's what I personally like to do, or occasionally there's something really bizarre or unique that an ad agency has done. So I use Twitter in that regard, and I guess to build my own brand because I like to think we're somebody outside of work, and Twitter has come in handy in doing that. I'm not as good on Facebook. I have an account, but I much prefer LinkedIn or Twitter.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball. It's not on the list of questions I went over with you in advance, and that is, I know that you have a blog. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think the blog started a few years ago, or the idea for it, when I wasn't part of our company's website design. And I thought, you know, I'm missing a great learning experience, so why not create my own? And with the help of, I have to say, my son and his girlfriend, who served as our developer and designer, we created a little website, and it's called Words on the Fly. And I blog about writing, language, words, or sometimes inspirational moments that I like to think inspire creativity. We started with templates, which I understand are available everywhere else, so that's much less of an emphasis. But part of it was for self-preservation, for, say, writing contest rules or a complaint letter. So there's a little of that on there. We may not keep it, but the blogging experience has been really a good exercise and a way to do it. I do it blind and really don't put my name on it, but of course with Google your name comes up if you post it on Technorati as a cross-promote. So,
and you write some great blog posts.
Thank you, Bob, and I say that because I met you actually through NEDMA, where we shared an awards page for your Twitter page and me for my blog.
That's right.
Sometimes the blog is...
it's a small world, and social media makes that world even smaller.
It is, and so thanks to Twitter, because then I started following you.
We connected, yes.
Sometimes I write very practically, how to write for nonprofit, how to write for real estate, but sometimes it's a little more self-indulgent in terms of creative ways to say something mundane.
One last question, Jill. What about the Sudbury Social Tweetup? How did you find out about it? What do you like about it? You've been to a lot of them.
Of course.
Yes.
And I found out because after following you on Twitter and deducting that you were a neighbor, we met up for coffee.
Sudbury neighbors, yes.
And I remember you said, I'd really like to get a group together, and I'm working with a friend of mine to do that. For me, it's a great way.
I said that to a bunch of people for about a year until Phil Hollows said, let's do it.
Well, something must have worked, because shortly after I got the first invite, and for me, it's a great way to meet neighbors and professionals, and people really from diverse walks of life.
Yes.
I know we've had people here who are in academic and healthcare and web design and marketing and all facets of communication. So for me, it's a great personal network. It also forces me to remember to learn more about social media, which I think we do each time we get together.
Yes, we do. Yes.
And we've started to bring in presentations, which have been helpful. And on a good day, I'll go back home and actually implement some of the ideas that came out of it.
We've talked about Twitter, Facebook. We're talking about Pinterest tonight.
And actually, I think for some people here who haven't been as exposed to social media, it's a great introduction because there's no pressure. You don't have to be an expert. I'm not an expert, but now I'm having way more fun than I did some months ago.
Awesome.
So,
great.
It's a great way to learn and occasionally toast to the day.
There you go. Jill, thanks for sitting down with me to talk about social media and everything that brings you here to the Sudbury Social Tweetup.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You're most welcome. So now I'm talking with Rob Mossy, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Symantec, and I'm going to ask Rob a little bit about his usage of social media. First of all, Rob, we're going to start with, tell us about how you use Twitter, and of course, what's your Twitter handle so we can all follow you on Twitter.
Great. So I'm rmossy24 on Twitter. I also co-manage an account for my product, which is called Enterprise Vault, and that handle is Enterprise Vault, all one word. So.
And what other social media networks and tools do you use in addition to Twitter, and what's your favorite one, Rob?
So, I really enjoy the TweetDeck, primarily because it enables me to kind of bring all of my interests together, both personal as well as for business. Enterprise Vault definitely bleeds over into some of my personal life, from just being able to tweet relevant articles around that kind of build me up within the industry, and then plus it helps me build the business around Enterprise Vault and all the interests, if you will, and hashtags that are relevant to archiving, which is the core function of Enterprise Vault.
Excellent, Rob. And there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn, and tonight we've been talking about Pinterest. What is your favorite social media network and tool, or you can expound on that? I mean, is there a bunch that you like to use together?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think from a pure personal interest, I really enjoy Facebook. I'm from the West Coast. It enables me to kind of keep in touch across the U.S. with a number of friends who've migrated to from the West Coast, whether it be east or just elsewhere in the country. So I really enjoy being able to keep up with that close group of friends, and that's how I use Facebook, is purely social. On the Twitter side, I really enjoy that to be able, again, to build up my business persona, not only for some personal interests of mine. I have a passion for lacrosse. It's obvious if you follow me on Twitter.
I've seen your avatar.
Yeah,
I think that right away betrays your passion for lacrosse. Am I correct?
Correct. But at the same time, I try and also bring out that business side of me, and keeping Twitter more for the business side.
But which is a very important point, I think, is the human side of us. We need to show, whether we're using social media for business or personal, we need to show our personality a little bit.
Absolutely. I think it really brings a face to a product.
I wanted to ask you about Pinterest because we've been talking about tonight. Do you use Pinterest or?
Not yet. Now I know a number of folks that I work with are big Pinterest fans, trying to get us on board.
Yes, of
but
course, yes.
you know, like most people, do we have the time?
Yeah, it's a good
to
point.
go ahead and manage that. So you know, that's kind of the issue there. But I found myself really jumping into the Twitter world as
and
well
I see you on
the
Twitter
Facebook
all the
world.
time, Rob. I probably see you more on Twitter than I see you in Sudbury, even though we both live here in Sudbury. Tell me, finally, what about the Sudbury Social Tweetup? What brings you here? I think I know the answer, but tell our viewers what brings you here.
It's knowledge transfer. It's finding what works for other people and being able to correlate that into, you know, something that could just get me those extra couple clicks, not necessarily for my own personal Twitter account, but for, you know, for the business.
Absolutely.
Being able to just bring it out there and get us out there, new ways, new possibilities for you know, for expanding on what we do from a social media perspective.
Absolutely, Rob. Thanks so much for sitting down with me to talk about social media tonight.
It was a pleasure.
All right, thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
Okay, now I'm sitting down with Ann Weisskopf of Digiday, and I'm going to ask Ann the same questions I've asked the other folks tonight. A little bit about social media, her favorite social media properties, and Ann's involvement in social media in general. So Ann, tell us first of all your Twitter handle so we can all follow you, and then tell us about your activities in social media, personal, business, etc.
Well, fantastic. My Twitter handle is @Ann Weisskopf, ANNEWEISKOPF. I've been on Twitter since 2009, and it took a while when I first joined Twitter to get the hang of it, but it is my favorite social media network. The way that I use Twitter, there's a number of different ways I use it. From a professional standpoint, and Bob mentioned that I work at Digiday, which is a media brand who's focused on brands, publishers, as well as advertising agencies. It's a great way for me to connect with my customers, to understand what's going on in their business, to retweet them, and to help promote what they're doing. It's also a terrific way for me to follow what's happening in the media industry as well. I've been passionate about media since 1995, and it's changed so much, and it's been very exciting. And to watch how media is shifting from the model that we're so used to brands being publishers, like Red Bull being listed as one of the #2 media brands in Forbes magazine. It's very exciting. So I'm a big fan of social media and a big fan of Twitter.
And you're very active in social media, and you have a lot to say, a lot of opinions, and a lot of knowledge. You have written some blog posts. I've read some of your blog posts. They're awesome. Tell me about your blogging experience.
So I started blogging over the summer. I was social media homeschooling myself, and I really enjoyed doing the blog and writing about, not just about social media, but how social media helps to propel different movements, whether they happen to be involved with women or different communities. And it continues to be a lot of fun. It's been a little more challenging for me to have time to write the blog post since I started working at Digiday, but I'm hoping to get back to it because it's a wonderful outlet for expression.
You also travel to a lot of conferences. Can you tell us briefly about some of your recent experiences?
Absolutely. I love great conferences. I was lucky enough to be part of the launch team of TwitterCon, which is now the Real-Time Report. It was the first Twitter for Business conference. It was just a wonderful community of people that were using real-time tools and social and mobile tools to help their business in different ways. I went to my first Digiday conference, which was Video Upfronts in New York, and it was really a fantastic gathering. So I'm learning a lot about video and mobile and data, which are really the hot areas in social media right now.
Awesome, man. And tell us about what brings you to the Sudbury Social Tweetup. I know you've been coming to pretty much all of these. You've been to a bunch of them, I know that. How did you first find out about it, and what do you get out of coming to these tweetups?
Well, interestingly enough, the way I found out about my first Sudbury Social Tweetup was my friend saw it in the paper and emailed it to me, so I found out about it from an analog way. But I love coming here because I'm a big believer in social media, and we have certain people in our community that are using social media, but I'd like to see that get spread further. For instance, I'm on the Sudbury 4th of July Parade Committee. We've set up a Facebook page.
Nice.
We'd like to have a Twitter account, and there are other businesses that could really benefit from Foursquare and really reaching out. And in fact, A friend of mine had just emailed me the other day asking if there was a way to tweet what is happening at the town meetings and to have that discussion be broken up into tweets. So there's a real opportunity, but there's a real need for learning, and the folks at Sudbury Social are on the cutting edge of it and feel really passionate about it.
I love that answer, Ann. Thanks so much for sitting down and talking about social media with me and coming to the Sudbury Social Tweetup tonight.
And thank you for starting this organization. It's great.
Awesome, awesome.